The Search Podcast USA Edition series is sponsored by Ascen. Ascen is a top employer of record in North America that exclusively helps staffing and recruitment agencies hire contractors compliantly throughout the US and Canada. Ascen's all-in-one white-label platform handles onboarding, timesheets, payroll, benefits, insurance, invoicing, and optional financing so you can grow quickly in the US and Canada. Start growing your staffing agency in the US today with Ascen. Visit us at ascen.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Search Podcast. I'm Elliot Manning, the Managing Director of Cayman Recruitment. New episode this week. I'm joined by someone I've actually known for a very, very long time, from business and personal, Jason Rumney of Intelletec. I'll pass it on to you to do a better introduction.
Thanks, Elliot. Yeah, we used to live down the next street, so it
Yes.
goes way back in our younger days. I'm Jason Rumney, founder and CEO of Intelletec. I've been, for my sins, recruiting for about 14 years now. Set up Intelletec about 9 years ago. Currently, as a group, don't quote me, but I think we're about 54 people. So 3 businesses that we have: Intelletec, then Intelletec Energy, and we have Venture as well. So there's 3 different areas. We're looking at a couple more. But as of right now, there's 3 different business units. Fantastic.
So I guess that, the US market in the last 2-3 years has had a lot of changes. Will you guys, you guys operate, and I just want to go straight into this because it's really interesting for me and a lot of people listening in, because it's a major topic. You guys are fully remote, right? As a business, have no offices and are looking.
We do have offices. We've still got our London. Well, we call it London. We actually moved from London to Cockfosters, which is just outside of London. So we have our Cockfosters office, and we have our office in LA still. But we were in a WeWork. We then moved outside of that to a Spaces. But we are a fully remote company. Some people go and as and when, but it's not required.
Gotcha, fine. And from before that, I know you guys had how long have you been in the States now, Jason? Let's go to that.
Moved to the US 2015. Moved to the US in 2015, August 2015. I started reaching out to companies back in 2014, and then I moved back to the UK during the pandemic, packed our bags, me, my wife, and my son. And I've been back in the UK since kind of 2020, but my business partner, Gary, is now over in the US. And
Why did you take Intelletec over there? What was the reason at the time?
So, got into kind of crypto and blockchain super early, saw a gap in the market, was hiring for a lot of fintech companies, came across this weird and wonderful thing called crypto and blockchain. Started kind of reaching out to companies late kind of 2013, early 2014, did a few conferences over in San Francisco. I actually wanted to move to San Francisco. My wife wanted to move to LA. Her auntie lived there. We decided on LA and kind of put together a business plan, put up a message on LinkedIn, I think 2014. And someone I used to work with was looking to move from Chicago to LA, and we decided on LA. If you're going to be away from the UK, you want to go somewhere with nicer weather rather than New York that doesn't for most of the time. So decided on LA because of that.
Fine. And do you still operate Europe, UK markets, or is it predominantly like US now?
So Intelletec, we focus on the US. Venture is a company that we have a 25% kind of stake in. I used to work with Ben Charlton back at my time at IT Talent. When I knew that he wanted to set up, I was eager to kind of invest, and they focus on the UK and Europe. We've done a little bit, we've dabbled in, but over the years, kind of there needs to be a distinction between the UK and the US, and we decided to grow the US and have kind of Venture kind of be the company that kind of focuses on the UK and Europe.
Okay, fine. So with regards to, advice for businesses that are going over there and looking to get
Mhm.
themselves set up in the US? Do you have any suggestions for them? Do you know where, like, we make a session of where they should be, or how they can, I guess, find a place to set up?
Should probably plug your iGuide here. Reach out to iGuide.
There you go. There's our
There
guide
you
there.
go.
Yeah, I can help you set up that business.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think it's all about it depends where you want to be based in terms of location, if you're going to be in a specific area or not, and hiring different people, because then it doesn't matter where people are. If you're a fully remote business, it doesn't matter where you set up, but depending, I think we've got at Intelletec, we've got 14 different states where we have people based. We set up the company in California. We're now looking to kind of change that to a C Corp and change it to a different location, but that's just because of the current kind of structure, and we're trying to save a little bit of tax if we can. But again, it doesn't really matter where you set up, and yeah, everyone kind of goes to some of those locations that they assume is going to be best. If I was going to set up again, I would probably kind of go to kind of Nevada or kind of other areas, but it would probably mean that I would need to be based, I think, 9 months of the year in Nevada, which, as much as that sounds great, it probably would be realistic.
What are your thoughts on that, Jason? A lot of business owners I speak to are kind of always in the middle of whether they need to be on the ground when, setting up, building businesses in the US, or the other way of just kind of managing it remote. Do you have an opinion on that?
So yeah, a lot of the culture that's built today at Intelletec has been from the time that we spent in office. We changed our kind of recruitment strategy when COVID hit, and we wanted to kind of hire people. We had to hire people remote, and kind of, I think March the 16th was when we shut down the office or told people to kind of work from home. And that was, I think, the day before Trump made the announcement that flying was kind of stopping back to the UK, which is why I kind of jumped back to the UK. But a lot of that culture has been based since then, and we've hired people who kind of get on with everyone else within the company. So it definitely can be done, but you still need to we still do, even though we're a remote company, we do. So on Tuesday we have a Peloton kind of cycle ride that we do. On Thursday we do weekly yoga. We do games every other week. We have a Christmas party that we get together face to face. We have a summer party. We were just in New York where we took the whole team to, and then we have our incentives when we were in the Bahamas in February. This year we're going to Ibiza. So even though we are a remote culture, we still have that kind of, okay, we're going to have a number of different touch points, and we have a lot of people from different walks of life, and some of our best performers have been kind of people with kids and families. So the change of kind of my recruitment, kind of what it used to be in terms of you must be in an office 5 days a week, to what it is now has changed, and that's kind of evolved with the times.
Gotcha. Okay, fine. Which was going to go into my next question, which was around, how does Intelletec identify the right talent for that kind of business? We had a small chat just before we jumped on this podcast, and you mentioned a couple of things to me. If you don't, feel free to give away some of those secrets.
What were they again? I can't remember.
Regards to like the kind of level of hiring that you make in the business against kind of going down a different route of like the junior.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So I think that in terms of if you want to be in an office, don't come and join Intelletec, because we're not that. We don't claim to be that right now. There's offices there. We used to kind of be in office, but a lot of people that we've hired over the last couple of years, and some of our best performers have been kind of more mature kind of people who have kids and families and other kind of requirements. So so we generally hire kind of recruiters from like 3 to 18 years of experience. Kind of, I think we've got so many tools that we can tell if people are working or not working, and we still have that culture. We still meet up. We're still on video. We still love to kind of laugh and joke. And those times that we have, like often I would go out. I always used to go to back to LA to meet some of the team, but now we've got people in New York, Miami, Atlanta, Washington. So I'm kind of working and going out there for 5 or so days, and people go across to different locations to be with different team and people. I don't need to be there. The team doesn't need to be there. Not everyone has to be there the whole time. So again, we trust the people that work here, and yeah, I think that goes a long way rather than having to be in an office, because most of the time you're doing exactly what you're doing at home. But people don't trust some of their staff, which is why they force them to come into an office.
Yeah, that's exactly the case, and very true. With the changes in the market now, with other businesses going out to the States, have you noticed a difference in competition since, 5-6 years ago, when, over time, has anything become more challenging or different at all?
I think the one thing in the US is, like, I think in the UK alone, there's like 400,000 recruitment companies. There's not half as many in the US, and the US is such a huge market that people fail to kind of think in terms of who you're going to be up against. The people that we work with, we may go up against other recruitment companies. I rarely hear of other UK recruitment companies within that mix. Very, very rarely. So the US market is huge, which I think is apparent if we look at the comparison. There's so many different comparisons to kind of look at in terms of kind of like UK and US. A couple of them in terms of the rounds that people raised. Like in the UK, a Series A or Series B round would maybe be 10 to 25 million.
Yeah.
In the US, kind of that's 50 to 100, 150 million. I also look at the comparison. I was telling someone the other day, is you look at Dragon's Den compared to Shark Tank. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah.
In terms of the amount that they invest, the UK are squabbling over investing 40 to 50K. In the US, yeah, they're investing 100 to $1 million plus. So it's all, I think, yeah, the UK thinks in the millions, the US thinks in the billions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you need to look at it.
Love that. Okay. Yeah, it's exactly the case. Fine. Have you seen any changes in recruitment at all, over the last few years? Is there any difference in the staffing industry in itself as it's grown and evolved in the US, and how, huge the tech industry has become, especially with recruitment as well? Have you seen any changes or anything noticeable? More RPOs, more task models, more?
Yeah, I think that yeah, there's definitely a user case for kind of RPOs, but on the flip side, in markets like today, we've seen a lot of RPOs kind of getting paused or being put on hold. So again, the whole talent acquisition piece of like in the UK and in the US is very different. I think we're seeing a lot of right now, over the last couple of months, given the shift in the markets, we're seeing a lot more people who want to now join larger, maybe corporate kind of companies, because they're maybe less at risk than some of those earlier stage kind of companies. But
yeah,
with a lot of people's kind of stock going massively down over the last year and 18 months, people are now considering other opportunities. Maybe previously they were very comfortable because of their huge OTE that they have. But yeah, it definitely has. And RPOs is one of the offerings that we have. But I think if I'm looking at the market right now, there's so many internal recruiters out there looking, and we're speaking to a number of people right now who have maybe gone from kind of internal into agency, or agency back into internal. Like right now, if you're an internal person, you should be looking at agencies, because we have by far the most amount of jobs to kind of look at. And if one client kind of closes, there's other kind of clients to kind of look at. Whereas if you join a company and you're first in, you could quite easily be first out. One day you could be talking about hiring 100 people, the next day you could all be cut. That's just the harsh realities of the market.
Well, we've seen a lot of that, unfortunately, recently, popping up like a hell of a lot, unfortunately. So that is, what's happening. I've asked this question and I wanted your thoughts on it. I know I think I remember, you guys used to do a lot of conferences, events, a lot of different types of networking where you'd go and visit places, whether it was in LA or somewhere else. Yes. Are you still doing that? Do you still find that is something that needs to be done? How are you building networks and growth in the States, which is obviously such a huge place?
Sure. We used to. We haven't done any in a while. We want to do more of them, but we already run at having so many companies. Like we have had a lot of companies recently kind of being put on hold, but that's allowed us to kind of look at some of the other clients that are kind of coming up. But the reason why we hire experienced people is because we we hire experience so we can bring their network with us.
Yeah.
So a lot of their network, and I give an example of Jamie, who runs our data science team. She has 18 years of data science and analytics experience, and you can't really find too many more people with that amount of experience. And obviously with that comes their network and the people that they've worked with. So constantly bringing in kind of leads there. We also do a lot more work now with multiple kind of VCs, and from the work that we've done with different founders over the years, we have a lot of intros kind of that way. So conferences are great. We're starting to meet more clients now. But again, we still have far too many jobs than we can kind of serve right now, which is why we're kind of hiring more and more people.
Yeah.
But it's a nice position to have, like with some of the newer areas that we're looking at. Intelletec Energy, for example, there's a few conferences that we've highlighted. But my personal view on conferences is, if you're going to a conference, go to the most expensive conference, because it has the best level of kind of clientele. There's so many of these free conferences or conferences that don't cost that much to kind of get into, but you want to have the best people going to those conferences. CES, Money 2020, a few examples, Black Hat in Vegas. Go to those events. Those are the ones you want to be at.
No, look, I've spoken to, again, loads of businesses. They're setting themselves up in the States. They are not planning on going to be really client-facing, networking, and they're just trying to build a blank canvas and just kind of, I guess, follow the crowds of everyone going to the States to try and build a business. And then it is a whole bigger picture to it, which is why you guys are, in the position that you're in now, from all the years and the hiring and, what you've done to create that. So is there any reason why any firms that set up in the States would fail? Anything that they should avoid doing or be aware of?
I think you need to, if you're going to do it properly, you probably need to have people on the ground from day one. As much as you can have offices in the UK, and trying to work those hours initially was kind of crazy. I was kind of doing the UK and US and waking up at kind of crazy hours, and it's not sustainable. So you physically need people, because if you're trying to migrate a couple of people in the office who are used to working 9 to 5 to 11 to 7, you're not going to get the full capacity of the US market. They have to do proper US markets. They have to take proper US holidays from the UK in order for it to work properly. So I think that's really important. I think a lot of companies kind of try it, and they try and do East Coast first. And New York, I found New York probably over the years to be harder to get into than some of the West Coast clients. So I think, sometimes, like, I think a lot of the kind of the way we've been taught from an S3 type of model, like a lot of people kind of have that instilled in them. And I think if you adopt that in the right way, you can do really, really well in the US, but you have to go at it like 100% and completely dedicate yourself. And if people want to kind of do the UK and US, they need to kind of do one or the other in order for it to work properly.
Absolutely. So you mentioned about the brands, outside of, the technology side of Intelletec, and what else is there in the future for the business, Jason? What else have you got from a growth perspective? Where do you see the business, in the next few years?
Oh, how long's a piece of string? I never like to ask, okay, where are we going to be in 2 to 5 years? Because I don't know.
What's the plan for now then? Where are you at in the next?
Sure. So looking to kind of grow venture, which is something that we got involved with kind of last year, kind of help Ben and Ryan kind of grow that business and kind of build that up. Intelletec Energy is a super exciting business, and we started that last year as well. We wasn't planning to set up an energy side of the business. Someone came to us, and through someone that worked through us, and he wanted to be in a more flexible environment. He'd set up energy, been working in it for kind of 10 years. And after several conversations, we were like, well, why don't you come and set up an energy brand? So already there's a team of 3. We're looking to add a couple more people in that team, and that's really exciting. And the energy sector is great. Looking into life sciences as well. We're just at kind of latter stage stuff with a number of people. So hope to have kind of people in play by kind of Q4 this year. And then we're just going through the last hurdle of our application to be a supplier for the US government and all their agencies. So that's been in the works. I think I spoke to them initially in 2017, and it was a whole long process there, and was like, okay, cool, we're not ready. But and then when COVID hit, I was like, oh, let's reach out to them, because that could be a good. No one knew what was going to happen with COVID, and wanted to kind of explore different avenues. And this process for the GSA, which if people have gone for it, listening to this, they would know it takes an absolute kind of the application form is kind of crazy, and it takes a while. But we're just kind of closing out that at the moment, and going to be looking for people to kind of grow out that side of the business.
Fantastic. Do you kind of ever set yourself, have you guys got like a plan with what number you want to be at from a business perspective? Are you by the end of 2022, you want to hire or be at this kind of
we
level?
don't really have that. I think we do it at will, and I think we're very on top of like market conditions and kind of growing when we need to grow, and maybe being at 10% kind of less in terms of kind of people in the company, so that when markets kind of like today kind of are there, we don't need to make any cuts to the team. So we always have a lot of business kind of either coming in, or a good business development team, and big kind of sourcing team that kind of allows us to kind of be in that position. But we always want to make sure that we've got fully secure jobs for the people that we have in the company, which is why we've got such a diverse client list, from stealth mode companies to kind of post IPO companies and all the rest within that. So we have a good selection, and we try not to be, okay, we just laser focus on crypto, for example.
Absolutely.
Because you'd be struggling right now.
Yeah, for sure. Jason, thank you so much. If anyone listening in is interested in learning more about Intelletec, I'll put Jason's details on the on all the social media that goes out to the network. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to just ask me either as well. Jason, look, business is unbelievable, and over the years it's just gone strength to strength, and I love working with you guys at the same time. So love to see.
You've been a real asset to helping us grow as well.
Absolutely pleasure. Look, I love seeing people in the industry doing really, really well like you guys. And as I said to you, I jumped on, I find what you do in the business and the model inspiring. I really do. So look, Jason, again, thanks so much. And I'm sure we'll speak very soon.
Keep crushing it. Bye.